the noise is loud enough. It will turn on the mic so that everyone can hear you. This is nice if you have a quiet background, and runs into problems if there is a lot of background noise. Push to talk means that you need to press a key on the keyboard to be able to speak. We will select the push to talk radio button. Click the no hotkey assigned button. Now press whatever key combination you like. I will enter Control and Shift. Once selected, click the next button. On the Test Your Microphone screen, you can test the mic if you like, and then click the next button. On the Use Key Binding screen, we will not assign a key, as it is muted unless we press our key combination. Click the next button. On the Select Sound Pack screen, select a different sound pack if you like, and then click the next button. On the Select Plugin screen, you can enable the available features if you like. We will not cover them here, and then click the next button. On the All Done screen, deselect all options, and then click the Finish button. Now that the first run setup wizard is complete, let's connect to the server we created. Click the Connections menu, and then Connect. On the Connect window, server address. I have the server running on my local computer, so for the basic setup, I will use localhost. Localhost just tells your computer to look back at itself. This means it will point to the same computer I'm on. Nickname. Enter whatever nickname you like. Server password. Leave this blank for now, as we have not created a password yet. Now click the Connect button.
Connected.
You should hear a voice say Connected if all is well. On the Use Privilege key window, enter the token recorded when we first started the Teamspeak server. And then click the OK button. If it is correct, you will see an info window stating that the privileged key has been successfully used. Click the OK button. Once the key is applied, we have full admin rights, which are represented by the superadmin badge to the right of our name. Let's edit the configuration options. Right-click on the server and select Edit Virtual Server. Click the More button to expand the options. Server name. Enter any name you like. This is the name everyone will see when they connect to the server. Phonetic name. You can enter a phonetic name if you like, but we will skip this. Password. This is the password regular users will use to connect to the server. I will enter password for the password. Maximum clients. Leave the default to 32 clients initially. If the performance is poor, or you have an older computer, you could try to reduce the number of users allowed on that server at any one time. Let's click the OK button to save the changes. The password confirmation window will open. Enter the password created previously. I will again enter password, and click the OK button.
You edited the server.
Now that we have set up the server, we will create a new channel. There is a default channel that it will draw people into when they first connect. Depending on how many people are on your server, it might be hard to speak, and you'll want to create a new channel to separate the conversations. Right-click on the server and select Create Channel. The Create Channel window will open. Name. This is the name users will see for this channel under the server. I will enter JAG channel. Password. Enter a password for the channel. This is not an administrative password, or the same as the password used to just enter the server, but is unique to this particular channel. I will enter JAG channel for the password. You can enter a topic if you like. Description. Enter a description of the channel to explain what the channel is for. I will enter General Chat. Channel type. There are three options for the channel type. Temporary. This channel will auto-delete when all of the users have left the channel. Semi-permanent. This option creates a channel that will delete the next time the server reboots. And permanent. This will create a channel that is persistent on the server and is not removed unless you delete it manually. Let's select the permanent radio button for channel type. If you want this new channel to become the default channel on the server, you can select Default Channel. And if you have more than one channel, you can change the sort order. Let's click the Audio button. Here is where the audio quality for the channel is set. Higher settings create a channel with better sound quality, but will require more bandwidth. Some users will have slower connections and might require a special channel with a lower bandwidth setting. Click the OK button to create the new channel.
Channel created.
We will now create two different types of privileged keys. One will be a server group admin, and the other will be a channel group admin. Click on the Permissions menu, and then select Privilege Keys. First, we will create a new key for the server admin group. This account will be able to make changes to any of the server settings, like creating new channels. Click the Create button. On the Add Privilege Key window, leave the default of Server Group. Group. Change the group to Server Admin. Description. Enter a description for this key. I'll call it Co-Admin. Click the Create button to generate a new privilege key. Now click the Copy to Clipboard button. You can now send this in an email to whomever the account was created for. Now click the Close button to create the new privilege key. For our second key, we'll create a new channel group admin key. Click the Create button. Change the type to Channel Group. Change the group to Channel Admin. Channel. Select the channel you want to give this key permission to administer. We will select the JAG channel created earlier. Enter a description. I'll enter Channel Admin. Now click the Create button to generate the privilege key. Click the Copy to Clipboard button. And then click the Close button. Once the keys have been created on the Privileged Keys window, click the Close button. We now need to properly forward our Teamspeak ports. Ports 9987, 10011, and 30033 need to be forwarded to the Teamspeak server. Every router type will have a slightly different set of steps to forward a port to your computer. You can get a step-by-step guide for your router type for Teamspeak from portforward.com. To be able to complete the setup, you will need the IP address of the computer with your Teamspeak server running on it. Click the Windows Start button, All Programs, Accessories, and then select Command Prompt. A new Windows Command Prompt window will open. Type in ipconfig and press Enter. You may have more than one network adapter listed. If you are connecting with a cable to your computer, it will show under Ethernet adapter local area connection. If you are connecting wirelessly, it will show wireless LAN adapter wireless network connection. I'm connected with a network cable. My IP address is 192.168.0.3. The default gateway is the IP address of your router. In this case, it's 192.168.0.1. Write down both of these numbers for use setting up with the port forwarding later. Open a web browser like Internet Explorer. In the address bar, enter portforward.com and press Enter. Now scroll down and select your router type. You can find your router type by looking at the sticker on the bottom of the router. I have a DGN 2000, made by Netgear. So I'll select that. Click here to skip this advertisement link. Now we need to find and select the application we want to set up. In this case, Teamspeak 3 server. Select that link. And it now creates you a custom document for your router type telling you step by step how to set up the port forwarding. Now follow the directions here to forward the Teamspeak ports to your computer. Now after you set these up, unless your router supports DHCP reservations or the ability to assign the same IP address to the same computer every time it connects, your IP address will change over time. This will prevent Teamspeak from working until you go back and change the IP address in your router to forward to the new address. Now even though your setup will be slightly different, I'm going to go through the setup on my router just so you can get a general idea of what to expect. This is not exactly what you will be doing in yours. You need to follow the steps on the portforward.com document we just got to. We'll open up in a web browser like Internet Explorer. In the address bar, we'll enter the IP address of the router, which for me is 192.168.0.1. I need to first set up a new service. Add a custom service. The name will be TS9987. We'll select TCP and UDP for the type, and the start and end ports will both be 9987. Click the Apply button. Now by default, Teamspeak uses ports 9987, 10011, and 30033. We just created the first one here. I'll go through and create the two more for the other ports. Now that I've created the three different services, which are basically mapping this name to this port, I need to create the firewall rules that send those ports from my outside router IP address to my inside server. Click the firewall rules. Then under inbound services, I'll click Add. Click the drop down for service, and I'll see my three new services listed here. So I'll need to go through the same thing here for all three. Select the service. The actions will always allow. Send to LAN server. This is the IP address of the server we got earlier, which in my case is 192.168.0.3. And then I'll click Apply. Now I'll repeat on the next two ports. Now here we can see my three new rules for Teamspeak, ports 9987, 10011, and 30033. They're always allowed, and it's going to send that traffic when it hits the outside to the internal IP address of 192.168.0.3, which is my Teamspeak server. After all this, it's very important, I have to click Apply. And now all my ports are properly forwarded from my router. For other people to be able to connect to this new Teamspeak server, we need to find out what the IP address is of the router. Users will connect to this IP address, where the router will forward the traffic onto the server. Right-click on the Teamspeak server icon in the system tray, and then select WAN IP. Below Request, it will list the IP address of your router. If you left-click on this one time, it will copy it to your clipboard. Make note of the WAN IP. When your router is rebooted, it may pick up a new IP address. You will need to check this and give out the updated address if it changes. You could use DynDNS or another update utility to monitor and update your router's IP address as it changes. This will allow you to create a name like myteamspeakserver.mydomain.com, which would point to your router's IP address. The DynDNS server will monitor your IP address and update it as it changes. This is much easier for users to remember than the IP address. I will create a video on DynDNS at a later date and link to it here. You have to log in and confirm your account every few months or it'll turn off with the free version, but this is easy. Now we can now just connect to the Teamspeak server with the client, but I will show you how to test ports to make sure that they are forwarding properly. This is useful in determining whether the root of the problem is port forwarding or an issue with the Teamspeak client. There is software to do this, but it's real easy to do from a Windows command line. Click on the Windows Start button, All Programs, Accessories, and then Command Prompt. By default, Windows 7 does not install the Telnet client. To perform the following test, you'll need to install the Telnet client. In the Open Command Prompt window, type in Telnet. If you see Microsoft Telnet, it is installed. If you see Telnet is not recognized as an internal or external command, then Telnet needs to be installed. I'm going to type in quit and then enter to escape out. Now you can always skip this step and come back to it if you have problems with connecting to the server. If you don't have it installed, click the Windows Start button, then Control Panel. On the Control Panel window, click Programs. In the Programs and Features section, click Turn Windows Features on or off. In the Windows Feature list, select the Telnet client, and then click the OK button. If you're prompted for a reboot, do so. Now back in the Windows command prompt, we'll enter the command in the following format: telnet space WAN IP space the port. So at a command prompt, we'll type telnet, then enter the WAN IP address, and then we'll enter port 10011, and press enter. If it's successful, you should see Welcome to Teamspeak 3 Server Query Interface. This means the router is forwarding traffic properly from the outside WAN IP address to the inside LAN IP address of the Teamspeak server. If the port is not forwarding from your router to the computer correctly, you'll get a message, "Could not open connection to host." If you try port 9987, it will show as not open, but that's normal. Assuming you set up each of the port forwarding rules the same, each one should work if this one did. If you try port 30033, it will show a blinking cursor if it's open. Now the Teamspeak client we use to connect to the server has the privilege key saved for the server admin account. If we try to connect, it will always use this key